It can be crippling to think about the amount of debt that we're sitting on as a nation. Today's video, we're going to be looking at how much the average American has in debt in 2023. But before we do, guys, let me know in the comments what number you're thinking on exactly where we're sitting. So Americans actually have less personal debt than what we seen pre-pandemic. So before the pandemic actually happened, we are now sitting on less personal debt in the amount of $22,000. So if you did guess correctly without going through the video and fast forwarding, congratulations. Research from Northwestern Mutual has found that we're at about $21,800 per American when it comes to personal debt. Now, this does exclude mortgages because, of course, mortgages are going to greatly vary depending on the state that you live in and also the places that you live in within those states. But as of 2019, it was around $30,000. So we've made a significant dent. However, at the same time, the amount of debt wildly is different depending on the individual and really depending on the place that you live. Latest New York Federal Reserve data, which is what we're looking at, shows that rising credit card debt and auto loan payments has helped pushing the US debt to the new record in the second quarter. Now, the debt itself, again, is going much higher, but the average debt per individual is going much lower. So what does the data actually say, guys? So looking at polling, looking at a bunch of different ones, despite the higher inflation, the study has shown that the average personal debt, not including mortgages, has dropped steadily over the last 4 years. The average American now carries $21,800 in debt, a whopping $8,000 less than 2019. So again, considerably making some difference in that personal space. Now, personal debt is decreasing. 43% of people that were polled have said they are carrying more debt than they have ever carried in their life. So again, it seems like it's going to be kind of segmented, with household debt going to $17.06 trillion in the last quarter, which credit cards only make up $1 trillion of that debt. And of course, that is with the raising inflation, the raising of the rates on those credit cards, $1.03 trillion of credit card debt of the 17 trillion that we already have, guys. So that accounts for the personal loans, that accounts for the school loans. That also does account for auto loans, which again, make up a big chunk of that. Now, unsurprisingly, the younger generation is really struggling with the student loans. As we get into October, those student loan payments are going to have to start being made, which means, again, that debt cycle is going to really continue with the payments of those educational loans. It has been 3.5 years that we have seen no payments due for those loans. So unfortunately, it is coming due, guys. Now, that percentage for the student loans also increases to 17% of the personal loans for Gen Z, 10% of millennials are carrying those student loans. Now, nearly half expected to pay off their debt within 1 to 5 years, while 40% expect to take longer, perhaps even carrying debt for an entire lifetime, guys, which is pretty crazy to think if you're carrying debt for your entire life. On this channel, I make videos about finance, investing, making money, and financial literacy because I believe I can educate people to reach financial freedom. If you like the content that I provide, consider subscribing to the channel so we can help reach those people as well. What exactly are the top sources of the debt that we do see? Big chunk of it, guys, of course, is the credit cards. Credit cards are coming in at 28% of the personal debt that we see individual carrying. Car loans account for 12% of that. Medical debt, which is kind of crazy that people are still carrying an absorbent amount of this medical debt, is at 7%. Now, home equity loans and line of credits are coming in at 6%. Those, of course, are a big ticket item because they are tied to a home. Personal education loans coming in at 5%. And then the educational expenses for children or family members is picking up that 3%, guys. So of this, what are some of the takeaways that we see? Even though inflation has been increasing over almost the last 2 years, it seems that paying down debt has been a focus for a majority of Americans, going from that $28,000 down to that $22,000, even with inflation going. Now, during the early years of the pandemic, many people grew their savings account by spending less money, working remote, stashing away the 5 stimulus packages that we got. Now, a lot of people either used it for savings or paying off debt with those stimulus packages. Now, overall, Americans are reducing their debt, which is something that makes me super happy and super excited about. But that does not mean that everyone's circumstance is alike, guys. When it comes to budgeting, you have to budget. There's not a video that goes by that I do not really stress the importance of getting that emergency fund, paying down that debt, but getting to the budget, guys. if you're looking at your gross income, if you're looking at your take home, if you're looking at your expenses, if you're running in the red, something systematically, something fundamentally does have to change to get you back in the green and get you to the point of paying off that debt cycle. Now, it does come with a psychological aspect that there are going to be some accountability pieces to really paying off and eliminating this debt, but not only the debt elimination piece that we really focus on, but is the acquisition of new debt, guys. Really take a hard look when it comes to an auto loan. Do you got to spend 30, 50, 70, $100,000 on a new auto loan? Could you look at a used option versus a new option, which can save you literally hundreds of dollars a month? Right now, the average auto loan payment is around $676, which is kind of crazy. Then you tack on insurance, you're talking $800 plus on average for a new loan, which is kind of crazy. Now you couple that with the average APR of 20+% for credit cards. The minimum payments have been increasing. The balances have been increasing on cards, and auto loans are sitting around $20 billion thanks to inflation with the higher interest rates. So again, as people continue to buy those cars, it is going to be more expensive. Now, again, the big thing here, guys, you have to stick to and you have to have a repayment strategy. You need to know exactly how much money of every single paycheck is going to go down to paying off and eliminating that debt, and also making sure when things are more expensive as of today, that you're looking at places where you can really cut. Now, when it comes to debt, it is a very, very slippery slope, guys. I see a lot of people that are looking at bankruptcy, that are looking at damaged credit scores, that are looking at hurt credit scores because they can no longer make the minimum payment with the student loans that are coming up. You have to be very vigilant in planning and spending. And also, guys, if it gets to the point, picking up a second job, looking at a side hustle, looking to eliminate some things, if it's cutting subscriptions in your life, there are a lot of things that you can eliminate that have little impact that you can actually replace with different things with no funds. So guys, that'll do it for today's video. Kind of crazy to see. And again, let me know in the comments where you're sitting at, if you're over or under that 22,000 in the personal debt. For a majority of people, when you include the mortgages in there, guys, these numbers can jump and jump huge. Again, with the mortgage rates being, traditionally we've seen them at 3%, 4%, 5%. Now we're looking at 8%, 8% plus, which is kind of crazy because not only have the prices of houses themselves increased, but we've also seen it coupled with the rate increase. So even looking at July going into August, we've seen almost a 9% decrease. That is right, guys, a 9% decrease in the new home sales, which is kind of crazy, again, because people are getting to the point where they can no longer afford them. All right, guys, so let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next video.